Okay, this is David Clausen with Roofer News, and I'm here with Reggie Brock, who
Uh,
is the founder of Roofing IQ, and he has a unique background because usually I talk to roofers and they've started in the roofing business or they've been with
yeah,
it their whole life. Where Reggie here, he started in the insurance business, so he has a great unique perspective. So Reggie, tell us a little bit about your background and
sure.
how you help roofers out.
Yeah, it's a little unique. I spent the first 23 years of my career in the insurance side of it. So, excuse me, I gained a lot of knowledge about policy and claim and, how payment structures work inside of a policy and when a homeowner files a claim on, usually for wind or hail. And so, literally, we moved from my family and I moved from Georgia over to Texas, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew what I didn't want to do, and that was continue to be in the insurance business. There was a lot of long hours and a lot of
Mhm.
travel, and it was just time for me to make a change. And so my nephew at the time told me, he said, "You ought to sell roofs." And I said, "Buddy, it was bad, but it ain't that bad." Right. And so he quickly told me what kind of money these guys made, and I got motivated. And actually, in in 2010, and there was a storm in San Antonio, and I literally went out and started knocking doors, and I had a handful of contracts in my hand. And I'll never forget the first roof I sold was to a lady in San Antonio, right by SeaWorld, and she said, "Okay, yeah." I said, basically, I mean, there's some storms that have come through. And she said, "Yeah, I got hail." And, I was so ill equipped, but yet I knew that I was hopeful that I could help. And so she said, "Well, what do we need to do next?" And I said, "Well, I think I'm supposed to get up on the roof and
Right.
look and see if there's damage." The problem is I don't know what damage looks like. Now, this is going to sound really familiar to a lot of guys out there because our training in the industry, in many cases has a lot to be desired. I mean, we just storms
Hmm.
hit and it motivates people. It motivates bystanders of our industry. They think they see these guys driving big trucks and,
Right.
and they see them cashing big checks and they won't in. And that's so, we're not really properly prepared in most cases. I got up on the roof. We called the adjuster. The adjuster came out. And I literally said to him on the roof, David, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what I'm looking at. Can you teach me?" And he
Okay.
actually did. And I got down off the roof, went to this lady, and she said, "What do I do now?" And I'm like, "Well, I think I need to get the check from the insurance company and your deductible, and we'll come fix your roof." And so that's kind of the way my career in roofing started. And you know, I, I I really started working with a lot of different contractors because I really was able to take my insurance background and really
Hmm.
fold it into roofing. And it made a lot of sense as I talked to homeowners. I could really differentiate myself with the homeowner because I understood what their policy read, how their policy read, what were the payment triggers, and it was really easy for me just to talk through that. And I didn't really feel like I was having to hard sell them. And I didn't really feel
Hmm.
like I was doing anything other than educating. And that kind of kicked me off to starting my company at Roofing IQ. I felt like there were a lot of guys out there like me who
Hmm.
just really wanted to make a career out of this, but were just struggling to understand really the basic fundamentals of, in other words, blocking and tackling. I mean, we're not trying to be
Yes.
really, overwhelming, but just really easy fundamentals that guys needed to learn. And from there, I kind of started moving and working with some other companies. I worked with a managed repair company. Then I worked with a funding group. So my point in saying all that is I'm excited about our company because I've seen the business from
Hmm.
multiple directions, pretty well every direction you can see. I've worked a lot with supply and distribution. I've worked a lot with manufacturing. So, I mean, it's really hard for me to have a conversation with somebody that I can't relate to them at some level. So, that's kind
Hmm.
of my background and kind of where we are today.
How did you told me about a couple companies who help
Yeah.
with consulting in Denver? How did you get involved with that, or how do you flip
Yeah.
companies around and stuff?
So, I'm pretty aggressive on social media, and
Hmm.
I've just developed a lot of content that I've rolled out to guys, and they started seeing some of the things and started asking me questions. And some of the struggles that were having, I had experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as well as I do, if you've experienced something, it's easier to talk with people because you're not just talking to them about abstract issues. You're talking about through by experience what they're going through, and it usually just creates a lot of confidence, early confidence, and that's kind of what we do. You know, we started out, or I started out, really kind of focused on the sales side of things. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just helping guys recruit, and the hardest thing with roofing, most guys feel owning companies, is finding and keeping good people. And there's
Mm.
some things that you can do that most roofers don't do that cause there to be an attraction to your company. So we started talking about that, and
Mm-hmm.
we started talking about, fair compensation, and we started, talking about prospects, and I mean, the prospects of recruiting, and when you got them in, what do you do with them? So you
Mm-hmm.
find good people, and then you go like, well, I don't know what to do with them because I don't have a system in place. And so we started building some systems, some sales funnels, and just blocking and tackling stuff, literally, to where the guy would know, okay, on Mondays at this time to this time, this is what a good day looks like. And,
Mm.
this is what you need to be saying at the door when a homeowner opens their door. I mean, find some differentiation in your message. And that's kind of the stuff we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But real quickly, I started seeing that really that's only half of the issue when it comes to building a successful roofing company.
Hey, before you go there,
Driving revenue.
just because I hear that
Yeah,
so often from
yeah,
roofers, not to interrupt, but they cannot get good work. So, what's your
yeah,
best suggestion
yeah.
for a company to keep great workers and stuff?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. Number one, I think you need to think that most of these guys need to think in a warmer market than they're pursuing right now. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
puts ads on LinkedIn, everybody puts ads on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
everybody puts ad on Indeed, and so we start sorting through the same people. I encourage owners all the time to open their eyes to what's close and around them, and their
Mm.
ears as well, because there are people out there who are looking to make a change that you already know. They've
Mm.
seen your success. You have a relationship with them at some level, which is the most important thing to me that can happen. An understanding of somebody there, that you've watched and you've seen, and you're not worried about them embarrassing you in front of a customer. A warm
Mm.
market approach, I think, really works. And let me say this,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to have full-time people in our business.
Mm.
I talk a lot about building a part-time army, right? There's,
Mm.
if
I like that
I don't
part-time
care.
army. That's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't really, I'm past wondering what, if people are going to judge what I say is good or bad. Doesn't matter to me. What I know is this: there are people out there who need extra money, but they're not willing to leave their careers,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I
What's
mean, really
somebody in
good
different
people.
trades or?
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Roofing's not, I tell people all the time, we are not cutting atoms. We're not splitting the atom. I mean, we're
Mm-hmm.
not doing rocket science here. And there are people out there who are, if they picked up an extra $100 to $1,000 a month, it changed their life.
Mm-hmm.
That's one roof sale,
Mm.
right? So if you could find, I mean, don't be afraid of looking into a part-time uh, sales rep right now. So like in Denver or some,
Mm-hmm.
the Metroplex where I live right now, there's a lot of damage. And really our prime selling is from 4 to 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
This is the biggest day. So somebody can go do their thing, their career, and then spend 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week with you during the summer where the daylight's long, and be able to make a great part-time living.
You mean
So
getting on the roof and doing some of the
yeah,
construction? Okay, that's a
yeah,
great tip. So part-time army, look at your warm market. Don't
yeah,
always rely on Indeed or posting your job somewhere and things like
yeah.
that.
And I'll tell you
Hmm.
another thing that's a great, I've seen a lot of success with, are teachers and coaches.
Oh, that's a good way.
I mean,
So recruit teachers and coaches.
yeah, I mean, they're off in the summer.
Uh huh.
And most of them are looking for part-time work. And these are the
Mm,
influencers in your neighborhood. I mean, your kid,
mm,
these are people who have the ability to gain a lot of respect quickly because of their positions.
right. That's a great
And
idea. Uh
yeah,
huh.
and so just think. think closer, not farther. That's what I
Okay.
tell people.
And a
What is
part-time
it
RV.
around you? Yeah, just I mean, look to
Mm-hmm.
build. If you could find 3 or 4 people that would give you an extra, 7 hours a week.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I mean, they knock home runs. I'm telling you.
Yep.
I've never asked those people to leave their careers. I've only said, look, what do you have, and how can we maximize it on a part-time basis?
That's a great idea. And another idea we talked about, I thought was fascinating. You did the iceberg analogy with,
Yeah,
because I and any business person, we get focused on sales. But
yeah,
you were telling me it goes beyond that. Do you want
yeah,
to explain that?
yeah. So I tell people when they think about what I do or what we do, think of an iceberg. And so, an iceberg, about 10% of the actual structure itself is what's above the surface. That's it, just 10%. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that top 10% that sank and killed over 2,000 people on the Titanic. It was what was below, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Mm-hmm.
we as roofers spend our lives polishing and protecting and promoting the 10% that everybody sees. When the reality of it is, problems and possibilities that need attention are beneath the surface. It's where the mass of their business lies. And so what happens is we get focused on trying to be something that everybody can see,
Mm-hmm.
and the opportunity for mass for growth,
Mm-hmm.
that top 10% is called your shelf. It's called a shelf. And so what we do is we dive under the surface, we pop the hood open, get inside of things, and start really realizing that when a guy says to me, our jobs aren't real profitable. Well, what we try to do is, and my son leads this part of our team, is just the data analytics. Why are
Mm.
you getting to that? Why are your jobs not profitable? In
Interesting.
Texas, I hear guys tell me this all the time. It's the insurance company's fault, right?
Mm.
So when I hear that, the first question I ask them is, did you pick up the deductible?
Oh, because that
Well,
happens a
no,
lot,
I
huh?
did.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, okay. Did you give away anything that the insurance company didn't pay for? Well, what do you mean? Well, did you put synthetic all over the deck as opposed to just the valleys where the insurance company pays for it? Well, yeah, I did that. Did the homeowner pay for it? No, they didn't. Therein lies the challenge of margin,
Mm. And you're able
right?
to find that.
We can see it. I don't do it this way, but my son can really isolate issues quickly. I mean, he's been doing this for 5 years, just looking at jobs and estimates and
Mm-hmm.
looking at invoices and looking at, and drawing pictures, right? To where you go like, dude, I don't know what you think, but here's the facts. We took XYZ job and
Mm-hmm.
we run it through the gauntlet of data analytics, and
Mm-hmm.
we've come out on the other end and said, instead of being at 32% of cost on labor, I mean material, it was at 41% because you gave 10
Mm-hmm.
squares of ice and water away or whatever it
Sure.
is.
Sure.
And, you know, people spend a lot of time on the backside of their jobs getting supplements and, fussing and fighting with the insurance company, when the reality of it is, though, if the insurance company misses something, okay, then they ought to pay for it. I totally agree. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact of the matter is, our homeowners are holding us hostage.
Mm.
They're wanting stuff and asking stuff and being given stuff that is causing us to lose money. And rather than look in the mirror and say, you know what? I shouldn't have given that away. Maybe we should learn to sell differently, which is then I come in and help them kind of look at their sales process and
Mm-hmm.
fix that. But the first thing you got to do if you're going to get better is stop blaming.
Okay. Because you hear that a
And
lot. You'll hear that
I
roofer.
hear
They
it
go,
all the
oh,
time
okay. Mm-hmm.
because people get in tailspins and they're not making money. And, they're like, what? I mean, Reggie, I think this is the insurance company. Well, just let's look at your jobs. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just see. Let's see on the data. I want to see what you were paid, what money went out on these jobs. My son, again, does all this. And then we come
Mm-hmm.
back and go, here's the findings. This is math. David, let me tell you
Interesting.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Math is at the central part of roofing, you find math.
Interesting.
It's
Mhm.
just math.
And when you do look under the hood, blame. I agree. That's an awesome point. When you do look under the hood and the owner accepts the blame, um, what do you generally find? Is it the sales process like you were talking about,
Yeah.
or
I think there's a couple sides of it. Number one, generally we're preconditioned. I mean, the market for 50 years has taught us, not 50, maybe
Mm-hmm.
20 years has taught us deductibles don't need to be paid. So we're griping, we're again blaming a homeowner when in Texas, for example,
Mm-hmm.
homeowners have been preconditioned to this behavior
Mm-hmm. Like in
because
Colorado
roofers,
where I'm at. Mm-hmm.
and Colorado's the same way. I
Yeah.
lived there for 2 years or almost 2 years. And so you want to adjust and you want to create value. Now, the good news for you Texas roofers that are hearing this, the state is getting aggressive in eliminating that to
Mm-hmm.
the point to where they're saying you're going to pay deductibles and it's going to be in the contract of the contractor signed by the homeowner. So
Okay.
there's a real aggressive move forward for that to happen. But that notwithstanding, you want to step back and look at, like Jordan does a lot of analysis that says like this. He calls it the what if analysis. What
Mm-hmm.
if you would have got the deductible? What if you wouldn't have paid this? This is
Mm-hmm.
what the financial snapshot would look like. And it's amazing the response that we get. It's just like, oh my God. So, all right, Reggie, I want to get deductible. How do you do that? Okay, I need to sit down with your team and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teach them and develop a strategy for them to get better in that. Right. So
Okay.
there's the sales side of it. The other side of it is simple job costing, right?
Uh-huh.
People don't even know what they're spending for what. And most of it has to do with they're taking money from this job and paying money on this job, and it's just constantly moving. No money settles.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea really, that, and they get frustrated. I met with a contractor today, and I said this, dude, I want to see your financials. And he goes, I don't, it's in my black book. I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, every job that I've done, and he's been in business 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I just keep a black book and a ledger. I'm like, okay. So there's been a little apprehension to
Mm-hmm.
embrace the technology and to really be accountable. And so what we do is we want to put a name on every dollar that an organization generates.
Hmm.
Where is it? What was it used for? And be able to identify that. And here's the last thing I'll say about this.
Mm-hmm.
My real job, Jordan's real job at Roofing IQ, is to do one simple thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that is to allow more kept money when the job's done. I want an owner to have equity growth. I ain't
Mm-hmm.
really concerned about how much you're selling. I'm worried about how much you're keeping, because what you keep is all that matters. It's called kept money. And so we go in and analyze from the out that 10% that you're polishing and promoting. Okay, it all looks great, but here's the deal. You're not making money. So why aren't you making money, or the kind of money that's fair? Because I can tell you this from the being in the insurance business,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not defending them
Mm-hmm.
because I've had rounds with them. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact of the matter is, our business is the highest gross profit business on the planet, in my opinion. And so
Mm-hmm.
you've just
Roofing.
got to
Uh-huh.
look, you've got to really look at what you're doing day in and day out and ask yourself this question. Number one, am I going to be honest with myself?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, am I going to do what it takes to make the change? And number three, who can help me?
Okay. So the biggest couple tips I'm saying, like you said, first, don't blame yourself. I mean, you blame yourself or look to yourself
Well, let me
to make your.
clarify
Uh huh.
that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I'm not saying they need to blame themselves. I think they need to take an internal before they start blaming. They need to look into the mirror, right?
Okay.
So it's not. I don't think it's safe or fair to say it's the insurance, but there's a default mechanism in roofers that just automatically blames the the second thing is they want to blame the homeowner. Right? Sometimes though, there's none of that to be a problem if we've just run our jobs efficiently. So I don't want
Mm.
anybody to think as they're hearing this that I'm saying
Okay.
blame yourself. I just think you need to be educated on what's going on.
Okay. And the second biggest point, it sounds like, is the kept money.
Oh
Look at
yeah,
the job for the money that you keep. You would say look at that first before sales, right? Because you need
yeah,
to know what you're keeping. Is
yeah.
that correct?
Well, I think you have to look at everything that um, so if you're looking at, you can't just look at kept money. You have to kind of look at how do we get to where we're at. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you see, like I sell one job and, my kept money is 3% or 10% or 12%, and then another guy, I mean, I get another job that's 38%. What happened there? Right.
Okay.
So was it the salesman style?
Mm-hmm.
Was it we were able to get discounts on our shingles? Just no,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to be mindful of kept money growth by what's really going on job by job in your business. So the kept money, I just want to, after everything is said and done,
Hmm.
increase that every job.
Okay, great. And I noticed that you were working for you told me with Beacon. Beacon
Mm-hmm.
is huge, right? They're on
Yeah,
the New York Stock Exchange. They're a
yeah,
publicly traded company.
yeah. Top
Um,
500 on the. I think they just recently joined the.
S&P 500 or
Yes, no, the 500 fastest. I don't know if there's
okay,
something.
they're
It's a
big. They're
they're big.
massive, right? They're a
Yeah,
publicly traded
7 billion.
company. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
And what do you do for them?
yeah. Actually, I work with them in going into their branches, talking to their sales teams about really um, understanding contractors who are working storms more effectively. So, in creating partnerships with them for the small to medium contractors, Beacon does a lot of business with big contractors.
Hmm.
I have a heart and a help in me that wants to help the small to medium guys. So, and so does Beacon. But it's sometimes we have to align strategies, and to do that, you need somebody like me to come in and go like this, like I've done with you today. This
Hmm.
is what these guys face. So let's build something that will help them get better at what they do. And Beacon has jumped to the forefront, supply distribution, and gone like, we're in. So I mean, I was in over 200 branches of theirs last year. So
Wow.
we're about to ramp back up in July with kind of a new message, and we're really going to be focused on, help giving contractors tools.
Hmm.
And honestly, that's the first thing I saw about you that I was thinking about that. It was like, dude, this guy provides valuable news in community that will help them, if not help them today, give them knowledge and understanding to know where to go to keep up to date and to see valuable tools that are offered. That's why I called you, because when I go into these events, I want to be able to say, guys, you need to be here looking
Hmm.
at this. You need to be involved in these kind of programs because they can help your business grow.
Oh yeah. I mean, I
Yep.
find tools all the time. I mean, just today, IKO had a cool
Yeah.
article on how to name your roofing company.
Right.
And Versick goes offering some cool looking courses. I mean, that's just one example and stuff. And
But you do that every day. I mean, it's
yeah,
5 minutes and you get news on the industry. I mean, it's a must see for me. Right. And I mean,
appreciate you
seriously,
saying
because
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh huh.
And so, I'm going to introduce you to my network. And, I think that you need to this is the kind of thing that promotes and encourages roofers to get better and to understand and to, providing information to them that grows their tool set, so to speak, so
Right.
that they can become more productive and have more kept money at the end of the day.
Right. Right. So when
Dude,
you
you get me
mhm.
fired up. I'm about to sweat.
Well, good. We want to keep you sweating. Lots of great information, and just so the roofers and the folks know, I'm going to have Reggie back. Every now and then he'll give us some case studies and tips and
Yeah.
ideas, and so like when you give these lectures with Beacon, you were saying there's some tools that they have. Or some ideas for roofers.
Yeah.
Like, what are some things that they offer, or that maybe even some free things or low cost
Yeah.
things that would really help them out?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I find intriguing about Beacon strategy that is very, very helpful is what they call their Pro Plus 3D. And it's an online ordering system, and to the point of being able to schedule deliveries. It just takes a lot of human error out of it. Now, here's
Hmm.
been the problem. It's been, roofers who have always faxed in orders, or,
Hmm.
they've called in orders, and it's just them actually gravitating to that process. But their online ordering program, and it's not just that. Here's one of you mentioned free. If you're a Pro Plus subscriber with Beacon, and a hail map, and hail maps are included in your subscription. So rather than going out and paying for hail maps from somebody else, as a customer of Beacon, they provide you hail maps. It's obviously the ones that hit in your market. So I mean, there's a cost savings there.
Okay.
Um,
So
and the other
cool
thing
tools.
that makes Pro Plus so valuable to me is that they're integrating with some CRMs,
Hmm.
like I
Nice.
think I'm I'm gonna get in trouble here. I think it's Job Nimbus
Okay.
right now, but they're doing a lot of integration so that it's a one-stop shop. So those are the kind of cool things that a progressive company like that does. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this and shut up. But I work with Guild Guild. What is their name? I just it's a new partner of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Guild Quality.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So one of the things that I preach and talk about constantly is what is your customer saying? I call it the voice of the other, right? I can get on here and talk till I'm blue in the face, and some people will listen, some people will hang on, and some
Mm-hmm.
people will hang up.
Mm-hmm.
But if I give you people that have done business with me and they're the ones that are leading my campaign, so to speak, you're going to probably have more belief in that. What Guild Quality does is that they actually go behind the job, and
Mm-hmm.
you actually ask them as a contractor to go behind the job and actually do a survey of their homeowner and his experience, right? And
Mm.
so, they have like a 67% return rate on surveys being returned, which is crazy. I mean, some of these social campaigns that I've done that,
Uh-huh.
if we got a 3%, 4% return, we're tickled. These guys are true pros, and anybody
Mm-hmm.
that contacts me and is interested maybe in our services, Guild Quality will give them 25 of those just by using my name or our name, and
Oh,
they can get
cool.
25 surveys. And I'm telling you, they're powerful, powerful messages. So that's kind of partnerships I work with.
That's cool. And do you work all over the U.S. With
Yeah,
roofers? Okay. Now, will you
yeah.
fly, or do you do it online, or how does that work?
Most of it, it just depends on what we're doing. Most everything that we do is virtual, right? I mean,
Okay.
it's hard for me to
Mm-hmm.
say people need to be watching their expenses and then they have to fly me in,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Or,
Oh, good point. I like that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this to me, I see you, you see me, we hear each other.
Yeah.
We can share screens, we can do whatever we want to.
Yep.
There's really no need in a lot of expenses in training, coaching, in my opinion. Now, sometimes it's important,
Mm-hmm.
but rarely.
Okay.
Most of what I do, and my pay is according. I just don't think that I can come in and beat people up with having to spend a lot of money and expect them to control their costs.
Oh, okay. They spend a
So
lot on you, and you're telling them to control their costs. Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because I'm
mhm.
telling you this right now, and I say it to everybody. The guy I talked to today. I said, "Dude, look, if I can't produce more and double of what I'm costing you, you won't have to call me and tell me this is over. It will
Mhm.
embarrass me so much that I'll stop the relationship."
Nice.
Because you should not do one thing in your business that either doesn't save or make you money, period.
Mm.
And it needs to be reflect. I don't care. I've got good friends in marketing, and they're just like, well, sometimes you can't. I'm like, bull crap. I mean, that's
Mhm.
baloney, right?
Mhm.
You should be able to put your hands on every dollar you spend and be able to go, this I spent, this I got back.
Nice.
And if you can't, that's the tip of the day. Don't you dare believe I think the dishonesty being presented saying, hey, some things you just can't quantify. Well, if you can't quantify them, don't do them.
Okay. So you should be able a good roofing business or any business should be able to quantify anything.
Absolutely.
Quantify anything
100%.
they do. And when you and Jordan
Right.
go in, your son, you're able to
Yep.
dissect and pretty much quantify or find what they at least need to quantify
Exactly.
to get their business rolling. And I don't know if it's if you're able to answer that question. Do you know roughly how much you're able to help companies turn around
Yeah.
or
I can tell you exactly. It's
okay.
how it's it I was going to be funny. I'm not going to do that. Or at least
No,
I
you can be funny.
thought it was going to be funny. Yeah. So it usually it's a significant amount because there's just been no controls in place. Listen, it's hard
Hmm.
for a guy to choke and digest for me or Jordan to come in and go like, man, I got to ask you a question here. You're running into cash struggles. Why did you go buy $2,200 of tires this month when
Okay.
I mean,
Yes.
you just you gotta think, and it's sometimes we're not offensive, but when you
Yeah.
bring me in, you asking me to be transparent and honest, and I'm gonna tell you that, and my son will even do it more, and that is, hey, we just want to help you get better and make and keep more money.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be willing to let us do what we do, and that's deep dive. And I go finally back to my what I started with on the iceberg. You worry, excuse me, you worry about the 10% that everybody sees. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to get down underneath. And if we have to stay in a submarine for 3 months, we're going to stay in a submarine until we find out what the problem is. We're going to present it to you, and then we're going to make decisions that change it. It may be painful. It may be harder than anything you've ever do. But here's what I'm going to tell you: it
Mm-hmm.
ain't going to change until you do.
Yep. Yep. And it's almost like shining a light on it. Probably a
Yeah.
lot of these owners, they don't even realize it.
Well,
They're
let me
probably.
say that it
Uh
takes
huh.
a specialist. I'll say this: it takes a specialist.
Yeah.
You know, if my car doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
I don't flip the hood up and go like, "Huh? Well, what do I see?" Because I don't know about an engine.
Right.
Most of these guys who own roofing companies are great salesmen,
Mm.
right? They're about driving revenue, and when you get them into like job analysis and looking at data as a solution to maybe, or at least to uncover problems,
Mm-hmm.
it makes them nervous. I'm not saying they don't get
Mm.
it. It's just you can't focus on. It's like I tell people in a storm all the time. Think about what you have to do in a storm,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, you're selling, you're building, you're marketing, you're trying to get more credit. You need cash flow. You're paying your labor crews. Something is not touched right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so what we try to do is come in and go like, all right, look, let's build some structure here
Yep.
that will withstand any size storm so that your infrastructure can support your revenue. There's
Yep.
a good thing to, what can you do? How can you do it to support growth that you're wanting? Let's eliminate inhibitors.
Yep.
And it's been a well received message, and you know, um, we
And you've
we
turned
kind of
several
take our
companies around.
reputation.
You've turned
Yeah,
several. Yeah.
yeah, it
You've
really
worked with a lot.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is there anything I'm forgetting? Any other information? Because let me point it. I'm just going to show it here. If anybody needs help, give seek Reggie out on LinkedIn. You
yeah,
can message him at any time. His website is coming.
yeah.
Is there anything that I forgot? That
No, I just want to encourage guys. This is a great business. This is a great career. It's
hmm
just you just need to be mindful of not just one thing, which is revenue, but the second thing, which is efficiencies that keep more money. That's
Yeah.
what and there are ways to there's ways to do that. It is going to require some change, but you're so close to greatness
hmm
you can't get your hands around it. You just need another set of eyes on it that will
Yep.
help you grow what's called really equity, owner equity, and that's what we want to do. And you do that by also making sure that your people are taken care of. Right? We look at comp plans. We look at
hmm
everything and go like, hey, fair and balanced approach is going to create because I believe this: whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. And a
hmm
part of that has to do with the people that you have, the processes that you put in place, and ultimately you go like, oh my word, this is. But you're not do it until you take side your business, revenue and operations.
That's awesome. Yep, my nuggets. I love the part-time army. I think owners. That's a great
Yeah,
tip. The kept money. I think that's
yeah,
because I do and most people they always think of sales, sales, sales. But if under the hood is not correct and not good, that iceberg.
right.
If you don't have a kept money, if you're you know putting out money in places that it shouldn't go or not the most efficient way, that is a great tip and
Well,
just
you
another
can
set
if
of
you can
eyes.
sell if you sell $1 million and you don't make money
Yeah.
selling dollars, you're doing the same thing you did when you were a million, just a little bit more effort on revenue. It doesn't change things.
Yep.
What you want to do is grow the revenue and be able to absorb more of the kept money as the 1 million goes to 10 million. And once that happens, mama and everybody else is happy.
And just real quickly, you said you went to 200 cities last year. Is that right?
200 branches.
200
So
branches.
yeah. So I mean, like in Dallas, there's 3 branches,
Okay.
but I'd go into Dallas and spend, or maybe 5 branches. I don't remember.
Sure.
But I was in, I
Kind of
think,
all over the country.
Yeah, 16 or 17 states last year. Beacon has 600 locations.
Wow. Are you going to
So
be doing that this year, or are you staying put?
yeah, probably not as much,
Okay.
but I will be. I mean, starting in July in Texas in July and August, and that's one of the things I'll probably let you know about. I'm going to be in Dallas. I'm going to be in Fort Worth. I'm going to be in Austin. I'm going to be with Beacon in San Antonio and Houston at live events. We're going to do lunch and
Awesome.
learn kind of things, and the stuff you're hearing today is not as much about me, but I have a lot of experience in insurance and with the law changes in
Mm-hmm.
Texas, these guys need to understand how we've got where we are. Kind of what status things that are changing things, and really how you need to prepare for it. And so we're going to do that, and I look forward to it.
Good, good. So, maybe if you're in Texas, look up Reggie. Maybe you'll see him at
Yeah,
Beacon Supply. Seek him out on LinkedIn, or
yeah,
he may be going to a different state, or and you give out little tips and little info, right? If someone
yeah,
messages you and
yeah. I
stuff,
do, and
you're
I
happy to
mean,
help out.
there's a lot of stuff. If you've seen this, you do the same thing. On my YouTube channel, I have a lot of
I looked at it.
really
Yep.
free training. I mean, stuff I give to people. I have a lot of interviews on there with Beacon staff. But if you dig into it a little bit, you'll see I have some training in there that's free to people. They can take a look at, and the easiest way to keep up with me, as you did, and we have found each other through
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn,
I
and
know. It's great.
I've got a pretty big network there, and Facebook is good, but I mean, I'm a big LinkedIn fan.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I've only been on about a month, and I'm like, wow, a lot of great. So that's another great tip for roofers out there. Get on LinkedIn if you haven't already, because a lot of great sources out there and stuff. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Reggie, for spending some time, giving us some great nuggets. I think I'm going to put that into the description. Uh, part-time army, kept money, and just getting another set of eyes
Yeah,
on your business. We all need that. I could use it in my marriage. I could use it with my
right.
weight. And definitely we can use it on our business. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for your time, and we'll do this again. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. And
Thanks.
I appreciate the tools that you're offering our industry, and guys out there, plug in. I mean, he's giving you good information, and I appreciate really your time, buddy.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you.
David.
All right.
I'll see you.